In the quiet corners of forgotten history, where bedtime stories blur into battlefield legends, there lies a peculiar mystery that has endured for generations. Humpty Dumpty, a name that rolls off the tongue of children and lingers in the songs of caregivers, may seem like nothing more than a playful nursery rhyme. But behind its lyrical simplicity is a shadowy trail of riddles, ancient battles, fallen kings, and political deception. Welcome to the Silent Lodge, where we unearth the strange, the eerie, and the overlooked. If you enjoy historical deep dives with a haunting edge, subscribe now and join us as we peel back the layers of this cracked tale. At first glance, the rhyme reads like a whimsical verse, innocent in its brevity. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. It continues with an almost comical futility. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Generations have imagined a cheerful, egg-shaped fellow teetering from his perch. But the original rhyme never mentions an egg. That image, oddly enough, came centuries later. In the earliest written versions, appearing in Juvenile Amusements by Samuel Arnold in 1797, the emphasis isn't on a shattered yoke, but on an irreversible collapse. In one version, 80 men and 80 more could not make Humpty Dumpty where he was before. To understand where this imagery may have begun, we must travel to the smoke-filled chaos of the English Civil War. The year is 1648. Colchester, a town in eastern England, finds itself besieged by parliamentarian troops. Perched upon its walls was a massive cannon, allegedly nicknamed Humpty Dumpty. This war machine, cast from tons of iron, was capable of delivering devastating blows to enemy lines. But war is rarely predictable. In a twist of fate, the wall supporting the cannon was struck and crumbled beneath its weight. The cannon tumbled to the ground, shattered beyond repair. Local forces tried desperately to return it to its perch, but the task proved impossible. Eventually, the city surrendered. According to some historians, this tragic event became immortalized in rhyme, a riddle about the futility of restoration after collapse, one that would echo across centuries in a children's chant. Yet Humpty Dumpty's origins are not confined to cannon fire alone. The name itself, Humpty Dumpty, was once slang in 17th century England, referring to a hot drink made of brandy and ale. Over time, it also became a jab at clumsy or rotund individuals, often summoned to drunk to recover their balance. In taverns and on street corners, the phrase conjured images of a stumble, a fall, a comical tumble into shame. What if the rhyme began not as a story for children, but as a clever adult riddle? The 17th and 18th centuries loved riddles, short, brain-teasing verses passed from hand to hand. Humpty Dumpty may have once been a cryptic enigma shared in taverns, its meaning obscured by time, politics, and evolving culture. If true, the fall could represent more than gravity. It might symbolize the collapse of regimes, the betrayal of rulers, or the slow decay of power hiding behind rhyme. In that context, Humpty's fall becomes metaphor. It speaks not just of physical ruin, but of a deeper loss, of trust, of reputation, of legacy. It's a fall from grace. And in the next chapter of this tale, we meet one of history's most tragic figures, a king whose story may lie at the rhyme's core. The theory that Humpty Dumpty represents a fallen cannon is compelling, but another tale hides in the shadows. Some believe Humpty symbolizes King Richard III, the infamous English monarch whose short reign was as bloody and controversial as any in history. Richard ruled from 1483 to 1485, ascending the throne after the death of his brother, King Edward IV. He was appointed protector of Edward's son, young Edward V. But the boy, along with his younger brother, disappeared after being placed in the Tower of London, never to be seen again. Many historians believe Richard orchestrated their deaths to secure the throne. If so, the great fall of Humpty Dumpty could be a poetic retelling of a king who rose through betrayal, and fell under the weight of his sins. A legacy so fractured it could never be put back together again. The phrase "all the king's horses and all the king's men" takes on new meaning. These were the very forces of the crown, powerless to undo Richard's disgrace. A once mighty monarch, now remembered as a usurper, a murderer, and perhaps an egg. The nickname Humpty Dumpty may have even been a cruel insult aimed at Richard's appearance. Tudor propaganda painted him as deformed. Shakespeare called him a bunchback toad. But in 2012, archaeologists unearthed Richard's remains beneath a parking lot. DNA confirmed the identity and revealed scoliosis, not monstrosity. He wasn't a hunchbacked villain, just a man with one shoulder higher than the other. Yet his portrayal had already cemented in myth. And just when you think the story has no more twists, consider this. Richard is said to have ridden a war horse named Wall. If true, the line "sat on a wall" could be literal. Humpty, Richard, sat upon his horse, commanding in battle. But at Bosworth Field in 1485, his enemies closed in. Richard was outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and ultimately killed. His army scattered. His dynasty ended. Henry Tudor rose victorious, becoming Henry VII and starting the Tudor dynasty. Humpty Dumpty, in this view, is Richard III, defeated, broken, and erased. His name slandered, his power destroyed, and like the rhyme says, no one could put him back where he was before. If this theory holds true, Humpty Dumpty may be the most haunting nursery rhyme in English history. A tale of blood, betrayal, and political ruin disguised as a lullaby. But how did this sinister story become the sweet, eggy image we know today? To answer that, we turn to the 19th century and one curious writer. Lewis Carroll, the mind behind Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, reimagined Humpty Dumpty as an egg in his sequel, Through the Looking Glass. That image would change everything. Perched high on a narrow wall, Carroll's Humpty was odd, witty, and full of strange ideas. His egg-like form was never questioned. Readers loved it. Artists ran with it. And soon, the cracked king became synonymous with a literal egg. Why an egg? Perhaps Carroll recognized the metaphor. Eggs are fragile. They break and cannot be mended. Once fallen, their form is lost. The rhyme's theme of irreversible loss fit perfectly with an egg. From then on, Humpty Dumpty was no longer a man or a cannon, but a shell. That transformation says a lot about how society changes stories. The Victorian era softened many dark tales. Rhymes that once warned of death or war were rewritten for children. Ring Around the Rosie, once about plague, became a playground chant. And Humpty Dumpty, who may have once symbolized a fallen monarch or broken weapon, became a cartoon. A face, a shell, a silly grin. But the fall, his tragic tumble, remained. The rhyme never forgot it. It's the thread that ties all versions together. It's a powerful image, something once high and proud now scattered and unfixable. Whether king or cannon or egg, Humpty's story is a warning, a reminder that power is fragile and falls, when they come, are often final. So when you hear the nursery rhyme again, pause. Don't just see a funny egg. Imagine the cannon on the crumbling wall. Picture Richard III on his doomed horse, or the echo of tavern riddles long forgotten. Ask yourself, what really fell? Humpty Dumpty's legacy is one of transformation. From a cryptic riddle to a symbol of collapse, his fall speaks across centuries. Not just to children, but to rulers, poets, and thinkers. The story was never about an egg. It was about something deeper. The rhyme endures because we recognize its truth. Some things, once broken, cannot be restored, not by soldiers, not by kings, not by force. It's a truth hidden in rhyme, wrapped in playfulness, and served with a smile. But it lingers. Children may chant it with joy, unaware they're echoing tales of betrayal and downfall. Adults may hear it anew and wonder, What am I missing in other stories? What truths hide behind the cheerful lines we've always accepted? Each generation reinterprets Humpty. He's a mirror, reflecting fears and meanings we project onto him. Canon. King. Egg. Joke. Tragedy. He is all of them. He is none of them. He is whatever we need him to be, until the fall. So next time you hear the jingle, let your mind wander. See Colchester's broken wall, the tower's locked doors, the battlefield under stormy skies, or just an egg with a crack. Either way, you're seeing echoes of something older than rhyme. Thank you for joining us on this journey through betrayal, folklore, and forgotten kings. If you found yourself enthralled by the hidden story behind Humpty Dumpty, please consider subscribing to the Silent Lodge. Here, we delve into the dark and the overlooked, unraveling ancient mysteries and telling the stories left in the margins. Until next time, stay curious, question the familiar, and never underestimate the power of a fall.